Hey, today's Thursday, September 7th, 2023. This, of course, is the Stronghold Digital Mining daily update. I was quite alarmed this morning when I saw that Stronghold stock price, really took a bit of a nosedive in early morning trading. Now, it wasn't really just Stronghold Digital Mining, to be fair. Quite a number of companies within the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem took a bit of a nosedive. And it was largely led, it seems, by macroeconomic concerns that perhaps the United States, I nearly said the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Reserve of the United States might find themselves in a position whereby rates will have to continue to increase so as to presumably attempt to cool an otherwise, robust economy here in the United States. Now, as to whether or not the economy really is as robust as some of these numbers might suggest is a topic perhaps for another update, for another broadcast. That kind of gets into a bigger picture discussion, which I think is useful to have, because remember, sometimes it's easy to kind of get just caught up in whatever's going on with regard to the Bitcoin industry and what's going on with Stronghold. But our stock price in particular is sensitive to some of these larger macroeconomic issues, right? We're not immune from those forces. So with all of that being said, this morning I took the opportunity to re-listen to our Q2, meaning Stronghold Digital Mining's Q2 2023 investor presentation. And there's a portion in that presentation where Greg mentions that we actually have, and I'm paraphrasing the wording here, but essentially like purchase orders that total, that would essentially bring us to like 4.2 exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity, meaning, that we'd have a Bitcoin mining hash rate of 4.2 based on all of the equipment orders that have already been put in. So that actually kind of got me thinking about what we talked about yesterday, about what we can perhaps expect to see insofar as here in the remaining, weeks of the month of September, how much more potential hash rate's going to come online. I think at this point, there is a meaningful discussion and question regarding, not a meaningful discussion and question, rather, it's just something to think about, right? Do we potentially optimize mining slots in the data centers, right? Like, let's say, and I'm going to do an analysis in the next day or two about this, hey, if we have some Bitcoin mining machines that perhaps are not as efficient in terms of, joules per terahash, watts per terahash, do we selectively sort of like swap newer machines into those slots? So yes, we'd be installing newer machines, but our overall hash rate would not be increasing, right? Because we'd actually be removing hash rate in order to install more efficient hash rate. These are all things that I'm inclined to lean a little bit more, just based on all the reading and research I've done cumulatively up until this point. My sense is that we are probably not going to be removing 2 petahash of existing, internal Bitcoin mining hash rate and replacing it with some of the machinery that's on site or en route. So I do think, even more so than perhaps yesterday, that we probably will reach 4.2 exahash of Bitcoin mining capacity, or your Bitcoin mining hash rate at some point now in the month of September. That then sets us up, as I alluded to yesterday, if the news release, what I read, right, that, hey, then in the fourth quarter, we can look forward to a 20% increase in hash rate as compared to Q3 2023. Well, 20% off of a 4.2 base basically gets us to 5 exahash. Now, that is a little bit of a double-edged sword. I know that some of us in the owner's box are perhaps concerned about dilution and, hey, how do you creatively finance, getting this extra exahash online? I will say this. I have had the opportunity to listen in as to what's going on at some other publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies and to hear what some of the shareholders of those companies have to say about what's going on with their operations. And, it seems like the topic of dilution comes up a lot, at other publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies, issues pertaining to, hey, how do you actually, finance the growth of the business, right? Does debt make more sense than equity? Right. So I don't know that we are unique or alone as our community, right, as Stronghold Digital Mining co-owners and shareholders, when we have some of these discussions about, hey, how do we actually fund the growth of the business, right? How do we fund some of these arguably mission critical steps that need to be taken ahead of the halving? I don't necessarily have a very strong pronouncement at this moment regarding that, but I will say that we're not alone in having these discussions. So I am absolutely, unequivocally confident that we're going to figure out a path forward that makes sense for this company. And that makes sense for everybody really in the owner's box. Remember, a significant portion of this company is owned by upper management. I mean, this isn't a situation where decisions are being made, without any regard, or at least from my perspective, I don't sense that decisions are being made without any regard to shareholder value, right? I mean, the goal at the end of the day, right, in this grand journey that we're on, we've said before, if we take care of operations, eventually operations takes care of us, right? The stock market is going to do what it's going to do. We don't necessarily have a lot of influence over what Wall Street has to say about us, what some investors might have to say about us. But we do, right, as a company, we have a lot of influence over what we do operationally, how we control and contain costs, how we evaluate opportunities to grow and expand our hash rate. These are all things that are within our control. And I'm really excited after re-listening to the Q2 2023 investor presentation. There were little things mentioned there regarding, potential revenue streams from the U.S.-based Inflation Reduction Act. There's a lot of little things in there that I'm going to be looking up now and kind of doing some additional research regarding that I think are very, very strong positive catalysts for us in the future. And it sounds as if, though, announcements are going to be made, maybe not in Q3, possibly not even yet in Q4, but in the foreseeable future, it sounds like there are some really, really interesting things that are being worked on in the background, which when they do see the light of day are going to shine a very bright spotlight on our operational ability to generate, hopefully, right, some useful revenue and to really see some additional uplift to our adjusted EBITDA, right? So the stock today closed up, which is nice, right? And I am grateful, as always, for the incredibly hard work that everyone puts in to make this business work, right? This isn't something that just happens magically. People really, devote a lot of time, effort, and energy to really try to make it work. And so I'm incredibly proud of, the efforts that are being made to prepare Stronghold Digital Mining for the halving and to just kind of get us set up for the future so that we can really live into like our full potential as a company, as a business. And that, from my perspective, is how, I'm choosing to view our performance. Like, are we going to be successful? The answer from my perspective is, can we live into our full potential? And so far, we're doing just that. We're really doing a good job. I'm incredibly excited about, the news release yet again that was released yesterday. I'm still kind of like high off of that because that was really, really good news. And so, hey, we'll see how we close out the week in terms of the stock price. But bear in mind, as I began this broadcast with, right, this idea that there are macroeconomic forces that are going to take our stock price and potentially really subject it to some heavy turbulence, okay? So be emotionally and mentally prepared for that, because as somebody in the comments, I think yesterday or the day before mentioned, we could revisit our 52-week low. Again, not because of anything that Stronghold Digital Mining is inherently doing, wrong. But remember, we are subject to a lot of external forces, a lot of external market forces that are completely outside of our control. But as I said, we can control our operations, we can control our expenses, we can control how we choose to deploy our precious capital to keep doing things in a very capital efficient manner. So from my perspective, we have a lot to look forward to. So, but just, buckle up, because we might be in for a bit of a bumpy ride in the short term here as, these macroeconomic forces kind of play out. So, okay, with all of that said, as always, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we'll see each other again tomorrow.